Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, entitled Open Public Act Meetings. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as specified in the Act. Proper notice of this public meeting was provided in the notice of May 9th, 2011. Said notice was posted at the entrance of the Board of Education, mailed to the Nutley Sun, Star Ledger, North Jersey Herald, and the Nutley Journal, mailed to the Nutley Township Clerk, advertised in the Nutley Sun on May 19th, 2011, posted on the district website. This is an official meeting. Please stand for the moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, call roll.
Mrs. Sanchez here. Ms. Flynn. Mr. Kaczynski.
here.
Dr. Reed.
Here.
Mr. Rogers.
Here.
Mrs. Russo.
Here.
Mr. Scalera.
Here.
Mr. Spizzato.
Here.
Mr. Gupta.
Okay, approval of minutes.
I move the minutes be accepted as prepared.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Do we have any correspondence?
Yes. I received correspondence for a variance notice to erect a 5-foot picket-type fence regarding property at 59 South Spring Garden Avenue, being 200 feet within the school property.
Okay, what is that meeting?
A public hearing has been set for September 19th, 2011 at 7:30 in the Commission Chambers of Town Hall.
That's what the zoning board. Okay, for the record, I will be attending on behalf of the board. Okay, reports, superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. Spizzato. Good evening. Coming as new superintendent, there are always issues, time-sensitive issues, difficult issues that often have to be dealt with immediately. Coming in, as I did as new superintendent of Nutley Schools, we've had a number of these issues. In the past 2 months, I think we've had more than our fair share. But I would like to say that I think that these kinds of issues give us an opportunity to come together as a district and as a community, certainly as a board, and show the true colors and what we hope our students become. This has been an especially difficult budget year for Nutley. And coming in what I did, both I and the board have had to contend with and make difficult decisions based on very specific topics. One of which was the pay to participate question, and the other involved staffing decisions that had been made in April and May in order to make the budget that was presented to and voted on by the public. In both instances, I have done everything I can in an extremely short amount of time to work with the board to develop specific goals, to guide our decisions, to find creative solutions to our current realities, and I have communicated every step of the way with all stakeholders. I've received questions recently as to why we engage in conversation, including these kinds of creative ideas. And I want the community to understand that it's my role to ensure that each and every stakeholder has all of the information necessary to make informed decisions regarding the health, safety, and education of the students of Nutley. At times, conversations may be difficult, as they have been over the past couple of weeks, but please rest assured that we will have them, and we will have them successfully. I've worked with the board, with the administration, with the faculty and staff and the representatives, with our parents, with the community, and certainly I have met with groups of students already. And please understand, it is only through these kinds of conversations that we will keep Nutley moving forward. I appreciate the understanding that everyone has shown to me and the fact that I have come in for only a short time, but I am convinced that as we move forward, we will be able to overcome any obstacle for the sake of the students. Case in point, when it comes to obstacles, a quick report on our facilities. Again, entered into a very short timeline this summer, and I would like to thank Ms. Russo, the members of the Facilities Committee, as well as the rest of the board for allowing both me and my administration to do our jobs. Ms. Yamins and I have been working constantly with Mr. Regan and our contractors, as well as certainly Mr. Nicolette and his determined staff. We will be prepared to open. All of the elementary buildings are exactly where they should be at this point in time. Mr. Colicchio and his staff have been on top of the middle school, including some of the emergency construction that has had to occur, and we will be ready to open. Mr. Williams and the newly appointed interim principal, Mr. Barry, are on top of the high school. At this point, again, special thanks to Mr. Nicolette and his staff, but we will have that building ready to open. Teachers will be entering tomorrow to start setting up their classes and preparing for an exciting September. Between now and opening, though, there is still much to be done. We have our new teacher induction, which was scheduled to begin today, which will begin tomorrow based on the repercussions of the hurricane. At this 3-day event, we introduced our new staff to the goals and the expectations of Nutley Public Schools. It's a collaboration of myself, our administrators, and certainly the Education Association in preparing our new staff members to meet the high standards that we set for our faculty, staff, and administrators here in Nutley. We also have an evaluation committee tomorrow. When I came in, the board charged me with examining evaluation in the district. I heard the same charge actually from administration and from faculty. Everyone since has been excited and committed to the work, although it is challenging and time-consuming. We, in a very short time, seems to be the theme of this superintendent's report, applied for the Excellent Educators for New Jersey grant. And while we have yet to hear, we are still moving ahead with the work of redesigning our system of evaluation. Training for a leadership team of administrators and teachers will occur tomorrow. And with this group of creative and committed leaders, we will create a new conversation around professional practice. Also this week, we have our first administrative retreat, where we're welcoming back our full team of administrators, including our 3 new hires, Ms. Malani as Director of Curriculum Instruction, Ms. LaGuardia as our new Principal of Spring Garden Elementary, and Mr. Barry, our new interim high school principal. At the retreat, we come together to define common vision and language, to define expectations, and as always, to select collective goals for the coming year. This Wednesday, the fall athletic meeting is scheduled with parents and students. I will certainly be present to meet everyone and answer any questions that they have. Our staff reports back next Tuesday, the 6th. We will have a district-level meeting and followed by building meetings. During the day, we introduce our new staff to discuss the 2011-2012 year. On Wednesday, we welcome back our eager students. It'll be an exciting day. Thursday and Friday will be single sessions, allowing us to train our staff in the second session on both the new evaluation model and the recent state requirements surrounding our new policy for harassment, intimidation, and bullying. It's an exciting time. The fall is often used as a metaphor for the decline of the cycle, but not so for us educators. Each fall for us represents new beginnings. Athletes have been out and about on the practice fields. Our teachers have been in and setting up their rooms. And earthquakes and hurricanes notwithstanding, it will be a fabulous year for the Nutley Public Schools.
Mr. President,
Yes.
if I could, just one small note. I think the point that the new superintendent made about communications is extremely important. I know we've all been at different functions where he's been communicating with the public. I know I have, and like the answer or not, the communication is important. That's all, a lot of what we were looking for. I know with our emails, with our communications that we're getting from him, but what the public is receiving also is commendable. I just wanted to put it out there.
Thank you. Okay, Karen, you have board secretary's report?
Yes. The business office has been very busy trying to close out all of our financial records from 2010, 2011, and getting everything geared up for the new year. Everything is on schedule. And just as a follow-up regarding our buildings, on the 31st, the town building department will do a walkthrough of all of the buildings to review all of the construction and the status of where we are at, to ensure that we have all of our certificates of occupancy before the beginning of the school year.
Okay, thank you. We have any committee reports? Ready? Rob?
Yes, Tommy. We have an academic committee report. Our first academic committee meeting with the new superintendent and director of curriculum and instruction was held on August 8th. The trustees Russo and Danchek Martin in attendance. We covered a lot of ground in that 2.5-hour meeting, and I'd like to provide you with some of the highlights of our discussion. First and foremost, from last year, my experience was this lack of structure. We essentially were wallowing aimlessly. There was no real direction in terms of where we were taking a lot of our discussions. And it's nice to see that through our discussions that we actually wanted to have this need for structure, which will allow for the timely and consistent flow of information, which is so important for the district. And more importantly, we need to focus on the root causes or the structural causes of a lot of these issues more so than the actual singular issues that have been plaguing us. For instance, last year I found myself putting out a lot of fires, and these were just issues that took up a lot of time. And I think our focus now is to look at the broader picture and to kind of come at this with more insight and better solutions. That being said, Gina Villani, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, will serve as our administrative liaison. So, for instance, let's say there's an issue pertaining to voc tech or end-of-year exams. That information will be corresponded to one of the committee members, which in turn will be brought to our administrative liaison so she can do her due diligence in the school system, meet with administrators, and at least come back, and then we can report back to the public what our intent is in terms of solving some of these more plaguing issues that are impacting the district. Next, we discussed the need for a strategic plan, which will begin this fall, and actually that process will hopefully commence in May 2012, and it will involve all key stakeholders in the community, including parents, teachers, administrators, as well as board members. And I see this more as a blueprint for success. Again, it's going to give us a plan to follow, which I think we're so desperately in need of right now, which will provide us with a mission in terms of where we want to take our academic goals. We'll provide for measurable objectives and also constantly reassess the situation and provide constant evaluation through that process. And this is the beginning and integral step. We will also be embarking upon more needs assessment work throughout the given year. Just move to my next point. Regarding that needs assessment process, we will begin with a K-12 program review, which will dovetail nicely with our strategic planning work. And it's not about reinventing the wheel, but more so examining best practices at each level. Policies, procedures, and practices will be all examined, and the district will work with state resources to ensure that current best practices in all areas remain the consistent focus. And ultimately, the outcome of this comprehensive review will hopefully inform what we do as an academic committee in terms of moving forward as a district. We will also be tackling QSAC this year. The Quality Single Accountability Continuum, also known as QSAC, is the Department of Education's monitoring and evaluation system for public school districts. The system shifts the monitoring and evaluation focus from compliance to assistance, capacity building, and improvement. The system focuses on monitoring and evaluating school districts in 5 key components that, based on prior research, have been identified to be key factors in effective school districts: operations, instruction and programming, governance, fiscal management, and personnel. And last but not least, Middle States Evaluation Committee, which met this past Thursday for its first meeting. This idea of accreditation for growth was formed and led by Vice Principal Dennis Williams, and it was co-facilitated by our Director of Guidance, Jill DeVillio. The Middle States Committee is comprised of administrators, teachers, parents, as well as board members, and it's an opportunity to discuss the process, but again, more important, to discuss the core strategic components of how we're going to move our high school forward. And again, this is a tremendous opportunity for us to devise this common language around goal statements and objectives, and hopefully push the process forward in a positive light. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? No? Charlie? Okay, seeing no more reports, we're going to we are now at the portion of the meeting where we allow members of the public to address the board. In this section, we allow questions or comments only on resolutions addressed in tonight's agenda. Our board regulations allow 20 minutes for these communications. Each person shall be limited to 3 minutes. We ask you to try to stay within this requirement. Speakers may speak more than once, only after all others wishing to speak on topic have been heard. All statements will be directed to me as chairperson, and no one may address board members individually. Please be reminded that if your statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, irrelevant, redundant, your participation may be terminated. Please remember, always state your name, your address, and every time you address the board. We will take the first person. If anyone has any questions.
Good evening, Mr. Lazovic, members of the board. I wanted to refer you to board resolution number 29. That's talking about the adoption of bylaws, policies, and regulations, second reading. And the fourth of those listed has to do with harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Now, this is something that I've spoken to you indirectly and directly about over the last number of years, to the point where at one of the last meetings prior to the new superintendent and board members being seated, I wound up reading verbatim state law, public law, 18A, 1946, and VBSA, and the requirements of reporting incidents of violence and so on and so forth, to the point where the president of the board said, well, you know, we've heard all this, you know, you've had more than enough time, but I wanted to just mention this to you, the new seated board, new superintendent, that this issue is not a dead issue as far as I'm concerned. And that, you know, Mr. Superintendent, you know, with respect, I suggest to you that if you don't know anything about this, this is something that I went into great detail with the board, with the administration, and which was largely, in my opinion, ignored. And when a student in one of the schools is seriously injured and the report is not filed and covered up and so on and so forth, and I proved that the report was not filed of the injury because the report was later filed in the next school year because pressure was put on the previous principal. So I'm just...
Ask you just one question. You have a question for us for something that...
No, I'm just telling you as it relates to the subject, bullying, reporting, procedure, and this was actually dated November 24th by the previous superintendent, Mr. Zara. But number 3, a requirement that school district employees report such incidents, and that complies with board policy, state law, so on and so forth. So I'm just saying to you that as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going for heads or for any particular individuals, but I think because maybe the administration did not properly propose these issues to you, that I am going to continue because I think that future boards should not be put in a position where board members don't even know all the facts, yet a student was seriously injured.
I understand that, and I think we deserve respect to a new superintendent.
Absolutely.
New policies, new rules, and I think
Well-
everything will be done properly. And I believe all the board members now are getting the information that we need. On all the
Okay,
different
previously I
policies.
supplied all board members with all
I
information,
understand that, but we're talking about right now.
and I'll continue to provide new board members with that information when the time comes.
I appreciate that, thank you. Any other members from the public?
Sorry.
Terry Cork, Salty High. Terry Cork, 45 Hampton Place, President and Spokesperson of Nutley Parent Advocacy Network. I have a question on this, it's on page 9. This is Board Secretary Resolutions number 8. The Joint Transportation Agreement. The 16 students, are they Bloomfield students?
Can I do that, Senator?
Or are they our students?
It's 16 students total.
Right, and are they Nutley students or are they Bloomfield students?
Both.
Okay. Do we have a number on how many Nutley students that are going? Or we don't have that number?
I don't have that number here.
But is Nutley paying for the transportation? Or is Nutley providing the transportation? Because,
We are approving an agreement with Bloomfield to provide the transportation.
okay, so it's Bloomfield that's providing. And those 16 students, some of them are Nutley and some of them are Bloomfield. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Melanie Matrano, 160 Hillside Avenue. I'm here on behalf of my neighborhood, which is Hillside Avenue, Vreeland Avenue.
All right, before we go any further, are you going to discuss a resolution?
No.
Okay, well, there'll be a part for you on that,
Oh,
but
I'm
this
sorry.
isn't the part, it's okay. Okay, anyone else on resolutions only? Mr. Kaczynski?
I have a question, I think was the right time on number 9, on the superintendent's,
Why don't you, well, let me close it, and then, let you read it, then we'll discussion.
question number
Okay,
8.
seeing, no one else want to come up, we're gonna close this portion of the meeting, and. Yeah, Mr. Kaczynski, can you move resolutions 1 to 29, superintendent?
I move resolutions 1 through 29 of the superintendent's resolutions as so printed.
Second.
Second, Ed Russo. Any discussion? On superintendent resolutions? No. Any discussion on that side, Steve? No discussion? Madam Clerk, board?
Mrs. Nanchek Martin?
Yes.
Hang on one second.
Wait.
Fred, you have a question?
Yes, a statement on the
Statement?
resolutions.
Okay.
Has to do with the athletic competition when we're moving to,
Which resolution is that from?
well, you have it under 29, it's called, I guess 2431.
Of policy. Okay.
2431.
Yep.
I'd just like to state that this resolution, this situation occurred prior to me winning my election in April. It's been a topic since April, since I got on the board. And I plan to support this evening, but I really think, Mr. President, we should have met with the Booster Club presidents on this before we actually introduce this or even move this tonight. There's been so much rumors out there on it. I don't think they're quelling them by moving this. So I think in the future, anyway, the new superintendent on board, and he's working on correcting these things. I'd like to make sure we're going to move something this large for the future, that we have meetings with some of the key people, personnel, prior to moving on our agenda.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Madeline?
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Dr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mrs. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Scalera?
Yes,
Mr. Sposato?
Yes. Okay, Ms. Russo, could you move business administrators resolutions 1 to 26?
Yes, I'd like to move business administrators resolutions 1 through 26 as listed. I so move.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion on the resolutions?
Yes, Mr. President. And again, had we had time to discuss this, I would have discussed it amongst ourselves, but I don't quite understand the change order, resolution number 9. Change order at Redcliffe School and Yannickel School, provide washable filters for all our equipment. Wouldn't that be part of the bid when you went out on the job to bid it?
Yes. Yes.
They were not included in the original bid. The type of filters that were in the bid were filters that would constantly need to be replaced. So we asked for it to be changed to washable filters to save
Which makes more
on our
sense.
maintenance moving forward.
Thank you very much.
I guess on the same line, so did we get credited for the filters that we didn't use, or? Is that a good question? Okay, any other questions on board resolutions? Madeline?
Mrs. Nanchek Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Dr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes on all but communication.
Mrs. Russo? Yes. Mr. Scalera?
yes,
Mr. Sposato?
Yes. Okay, here's a section, hearing of citizens. In this section, we'll have questions or comments on all school-related matters. Our regulations allot 30 minutes for these communications. Again, each person shall be limited to 3 minutes. We ask you to try to stay within this requirement. As I stated earlier, all statements will be directed to me.
As I was saying before, I'm here, I live on Melanie Matrano Duffy. I live on Hillside Avenue, and I'm here representing the members of my community, Breland Avenue and Hillside Avenue, but also the town of Nutley as a whole. This past week, I met with Principals Colicchio and Sorensen to discuss an issue of, I think, very great importance to the students, all the children that attend Nutley schools. And I prepared a little handout just to make it easier to follow. Basically, what's happening is that we have in the vicinity of our schools during school hours, Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous meetings happening at two of the churches, the one right behind the middle school and the one on the corner of Breland and Hillside. And
Behind high school?
the one right behind the middle school, well, it's there, the Franklin Reformed Church and the Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. We as a community have been sort of suffering our own neighborhood abuses regarding these meetings, but greater than that, the meetings have now been expanded and moved to near where our high school children and our middle school children are out during the lunch hours, walking around, and this is the very same time that these meetings are going on, and folks that are anonymous are roaming also around our communities. We have been researching this and working on this for months, since the winter. Steve Rogers is really familiar with this. He actually helped us a lot in our community a few months ago. But basically, today, what I can update you on is I did speak to a senior parole officer in the Sex Offender Management Office at the Essex County Executive's Office today. And he did confirm for me unequivocally that yes, convicted sex offenders are mandated to attend NA and AA meetings by the courts in our county of Essex. The parole officer gives them slips, which they must have signed when they attend a meeting, and that's proof of their attendance. The chairpersons of these meetings, the people that run these meetings, they are not certified counselors, therapists, credentialed people in any way. They are simply fellow recovering addicts. They receive no training, no background checks. They don't even have to give their last names. He also told me that even if there are not mandated people on any given day at these meetings, which is highly unlikely, he assured me, it doesn't mean that there aren't criminals or felons there attending with prior arrests. They just don't happen to need a slip signed at that particular day. And members of the community will not even know that they're in attendance. This is very scary for the parents of Nutley, because if sex offenders move in next door to us or down the street from us, we're notified, and they're on a sex offender registry. It's part of Megan's Law. But when it comes to these anonymous meetings, we can't actually even know who's coming and going and who's near our children. And as I said, it's during the lunch hours, and also on days when we have half days, the children are just simply released from school, walking home, completely at the mercy of anyone who may be a predator. Citizens can look up license plates. There is the New Jersey State Police website, and by doing this, we can actually, if we wish to, confirm the identities of sex offenders who may be parked and attending these meetings. That's part of Megan's Law, which we have not actually yet exercised doing that, but it's getting to that point. This parole officer, senior parole officer, left me his cell phone number, his email. He told me that I could contact him again. I told him I was coming to the school board tonight. And we're coming to the school board because we want the support of the school board in protecting our children. I think this is something that a lot of people in the community aren't aware of. And I know the principals weren't aware of it, but they were quite upset to hear the research that we had conducted. I'm being contacted by people all over the country, from California, from Chicago, from Florida, on a daily basis, that have been reading the stories because it's been in the Nutley Sun and on the NJ Hometown blogs. And they've been offering support and saying, this is happening in our communities too, and people need to know what's going on. There are lots of instances of people raping, they are doing child abduction, child sexual abuse. It's documented all over the country in conjunction specifically with these NA and AA meetings. And I just did call today to confirm that yes, there is no doubt, I'm being told by the county executive's office that there are a percentage of sex offenders at every single one of these meetings. He also said that they absolutely should not be held near schools. They should not be held in residential communities. The place for these meetings are courthouses, municipal buildings, places where there's supervision, places away from our children. I put at the bottom some websites where you could go and read about nationwide problems. You will see people from all over the country posting unbelievable stories in conjunction with these types of meetings. So I came here tonight to ask for support. We will be going down to the next Board of Commissioners meeting on September 6th. We've been speaking to the Board of Commissioners. I have a meeting with the mayor tomorrow. We are just trying everything we possibly can, but we want to put it out there and expose what's happening. I also want to go on record saying I do believe there are a great number of very good people that attend these meetings that are trying to better their lives, and they have my respect. But the correspondence I'm getting from people all over the country are former members that have actually been abused themselves, and they are also scared to go to the meetings themselves. They are also in favor of trying to rid these meetings of people that are criminals and that are mandated by the courts to go. So I wanted to tell the school board about this and please ask them for their support. Maybe come to the Board of Commissioners meeting and just put it out there that this is an issue. I think it's too big of an issue to ignore. The meetings near the school began on July 1st, so this is something that's going to be a big issue in school.
Thank you very much.
Just a question. I thought that sex offenders could not be within a certain distance of a school, live within a certain distance of a school. If they can't live within a certain distance of a school, I certainly wouldn't be in favor of them trying to reform within a certain distance of a school. Can we get a legal opinion on what the board is able to do as far as support is
Before we
concerned?
get into a major topic, this discussion on this, I spoke with our superintendent regarding it. He's aware of it. We've been following the case as it's going on. We do have concerns. Of course, our safety of our children are the most important, so we do have a lot. But I think before we have an open discussion, before we start talking about it now, I think that we should, we definitely hear you. I don't think there's anyone here that's not 100% in support and behind what you're saying. I think we should, we will be looking into it as an aspect of the school side, what we can do, what our rights are, how we go on that angle. And I believe then as a board, I would suggest we ourselves sit down and discuss this and see how we would pursue. But I thank you.
Thank you so
Without a
much.
doubt, we definitely, I think we should just let that go for now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jill Fensky, the pastor of the Franklin Reformed Church, your backyard neighbor. I'd just like to say, in response to the earlier remarks, that we open our church as a hospitality, as a ministry to folks who are recovering. We host 6 meetings a week. We have never had a problem, not with our neighbors, not with the folks in the meeting. And I am concerned that this be spun out of control because people have identified or tried to identify folks who attend those meetings as people who are unsavory to be in the neighborhoods. I think we provide a ministry to those folks. We happen to be in the neighborhood of the school. Frankly, we've been there longer than the school has. And I just wanted to say that we are in full support of all of the 12-step meetings that meet not only in our own church, but in the church, and all of the churches in our community.
Thank you.
Opposite Noah, 32 Hillside Crescent. I support all of the things actually that Melanie and the Reverend both spoke of. However, I'd like to bring it up from a different point of view because I've spoken before this board many times in terms of the building project and the school and the improvements and the parking and everything else that affects the neighborhood. And during the middle of the school day, now school has not been in session lately, so it really hasn't, we haven't seen the impact of all of the parking, of the teachers and so on, and the visitors to the neighborhood. I think that it's going to be detrimental to have the combination of both, because when the teachers are back, there is no available parking. So if we're going to have to address people coming into the neighborhood as part of this program, on top of the teachers and other people who are coming to work in or visit the schools, it's going to be just one more problem that I want you to think about.
Thank you.
Terry Clerk, 45 Hampton Place, President and spokesperson of the Nutley Parent Advocacy Network. With me is Gina LaBar, 312 Hillside Avenue. Mr. President, you know what I'm about to talk about because I've been here many times in front of this microphone talking about the VOTEC issue. I'm very, very happy that Dr. Reed spoke about the communication because that was one of the problems that we had this past summer, misleading these parents, not whether it be deliberately or not. It was just very, very difficult for these parents and these students to go through this. And at this point, we've been working with Mr. Lasvik and his staff in trying to transition them back into the high school, but we also wanted to see on our own end what is available for these kids and legally what is available. We have gone to the Education Law Center and they have reviewed our case and they have recommended that we file for due process, which we did. We're going to take it to the state level because we really feel that the needs of these children coming back into this high school are not going to be met. It's different. I mean, I know this board knows about the different kinds of programs. The high school is just not going to meet these needs, and it's not anyone's fault here, but we are feeling, just very disappointed that the past administration, not Mr. Lasvik, but the past administration, let me just stress that, really failed to really think about these kids. And even though that there's only a couple of them, 4 or 5 of them, it's like we haven't heard from them. So Gina was good enough to write out a little statement, and she's a little nervous about reading it, so she has a little stage fright. So I will read it for her. I am currently a student, well, that was last year. I am currently a student at West Caldwell VOTEC. I have been attending this school from 2009 to 2011. The class I'm attending is beauty culture. This class is a wonderful place to learn because it is something I am actually very interested in. My teacher inspires me to be the best I can be, and she really wants us to take the pieces of knowledge she shares with us and turn it into more than just being successful with making money. We can all make a difference in other people's lives, including our own. In March, I was informed by my guidance counselor that we are no longer allowed to attend West Caldwell due to new graduation requirements. My hopes and the hopes of all the Nutley students that also attend were crushed. Our dreams are shattered more than anyone will ever know. Goals that we wanted to accomplish, the people that we wanted to become, are now destroyed. We all feel that we have nothing else to turn to because our hearts were set on our goals. Our whole lives, our parents and teachers always said, never give up, always finish what you start. Discontinuing this program leads us to believe that there are people out there who actually discourage children to fulfill their dreams. Children are this country's most valuable resource. We are the future, and by taking away our trade, you're preventing wonderful opportunities for us and the people of the future. We have already been accepted into this program after tests and hard work. Our hard work and dedication was a waste of our time due to bureaucratic decision. Not only is this unfair, it's just not right. To cut us off midway to our career goals. If the program must be discontinued for share time student children, then you should not begin with us who are already in the program. You should not enroll any more students. I cannot think of any other reason why we should not be allowed to do so. Thank you. So this was just her feelings, and it reflects the other students that have been affected by this as well. So we just wanted to let you know that we are pursuing this legally. If the state by any chance says they're back, then that's what we'll be doing. So in the future, and I think that this is really important, I think there needs to be, like Dr. Reed said, lines of communication. Parents should not find out something months after a decision is made. And then they come to me, and then it becomes a power struggle between myself and the district. So we want to avoid that at all costs. So I just wanted to share that with you, and so did Gina. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to be heard? Seeing none. Any old business? Any old business? Any new business? Seeing none, I'll ask for adjournment.
I move we adjourn. Second.
All in favor? Good night, thank you.